I called myself a born-again Catholic because actually it's kind of, I don't really like the term revert, and I'm not a convert because I was baptized Catholic. So I kind of make a little joke and say I'm a born-again Catholic because I'm just now, discovering the true consecration that, happened in my soul at my baptism, that for the first 20 years of my life, I didn't live out because my parents were actually divorced when I was about 2. And back in those days, like in the 70s, 80s, it might be different now, but back then, they always gave the custody to the mom. And it was my dad who had the faith in the family. And so we grew up with my mom not going to church. And so that's why I'm not going to get into a lot of those details, because actually next Tuesday night over at St. Patrick's, I'm going to give like the full just conversion story, but I think that'd be too long for what we want to do tonight. Basically, I was a hairstylist. I actually am from the Appleton area, and so I worked out at the Fox River Mall and the Regis for about 5 years. I also sold Mary Kay, and it's funny because, it's so funny because I was like, wow, And actually I was quite successful as a hairstylist, not necessarily because I was that great at doing hair. What I was successful at was selling shampoo and conditioner. And I could sell that stuff like hotcakes. At the age of, I think it was 20, I bought my first house. I did quite well. I was actually in the top sales for the nation for Regis Corporation. Shampoo and conditioner, it flew out of my hands. And so I won $500 piece of gift cards and Swiss Army watch, and really great things. And I really love doing hair, and I'd probably still be doing it today had I not fallen in love with Jesus. So one of the things that happened to me while I was a hairstylist that I think is kind of important, kind of short aspect of my conversion was, since I was such a champion at selling shampoo, I would be always one of the first ones, when somebody would walk in, I would be one of the first to kind of run up to the desk and, oh, can I help you, and show them our different shampoo and conditioner. And one day a woman came in and she wasn't interested in any hair care product. She wanted to tell me about the new kickboxing studio that just went up just down the street from our mall. And she told me that if I was willing to put up one of their flyers announcing this new Get Fit kickboxing program, I could do the first 6 weeks for free. And I was like, oh, I can appreciate a salesperson like this. And so I ended up entering this program, and I absolutely fell in love with kickboxing. And it was really great because I was actually in high school really into sports, but I don't know if any of you great high school athletes, and then after you kind of get that 10, maybe 15, 20 pounds, and those first couple years after, because you don't have 2 of these soccer practices like I did being on the JV guys soccer team. I went to Shawano High School, and back in the 90s, we didn't have a girls' soccer team. And now I think there's plenty, but there's not a guys' soccer team in high school. And so anyways, I was really interested in this kickboxing. And I'm telling you about this because our body is like the soil for the seed of faith. And so for me, I really see how in God's providence, He used me having to quit smoking, which I had done since 14. And also, I had to get up at 5:30 in the morning because this great new free kickboxing class started at 6:30, so you could get it in before going to work. So I really saw kind of her coming in that day very providential, because I really think through that first step in discipline of, getting in shape, quitting smoking, having to get up 5 days a week at 5:30 in the morning when I work nights and weekends, that I really see that as the first step that God used in my conversion, preparing me, kind of getting me out of that laziness and really, so I really encourage you all here, to have some type of exercise program, some way to really, our human person, God, He wants to recreate, but He also loves it. He loves our human nature. He loves our bodies. He wants us to have like a healthy relationship with, ourselves, even like naturally speaking. So that's kind of the first thing I throw out there because it was so important in my own life. And 6 months after I did this kickboxing class, I went over to my best friend's house and had an afternoon that changed my life. She had been my best friend since 4th grade. I was the maid of honor at her wedding. She was like a sister to me because she never had sisters. And I went over to her house and, I don't know how you are with your best friend, but for me, going to see my best friend after not seeing her for a few months, it's make a pot of coffee, get out the flavor creamer, and go to the living room. Maybe that's foreign to you all, but that's what we do. And then we talk all afternoon and all night, whatever. And so we're getting our coffee ready. We're all excited. She's gonna do great creamer. And we're not excited about the new flavor creamers. Anyways, so we're getting that ready, and she leans over and she goes to me, "Are you a Christian?" I'm like, that's such a weird question. I grew up in Shawano, okay, 15 years ago. I don't know if anybody knows Shawano, it's a little town up north. Okay, got a few little nods, okay, great. Well, anyways, in Shawano, you don't know people, at least 15 years ago, it's not Madison, okay? Like, you don't know Jewish people, you don't know atheists, everybody's Christian. Today, but it's not like Madison, basically. Small town up north, everybody's Christian. So when she asked me if I was Christian, I said, yeah, everybody? Isn't everybody? I was like, I didn't know anybody that didn't celebrate Christmas. I was really stumped by her question. Plus, it's my best friend, so she's talking to me like I'm a stranger and asking me weird questions. Second question. Do you have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ? Didn't he die 2,000 years ago? He never called me, so I didn't really know where she was going with this. But my best friend had grown up a staunch Southern Baptist, and so she knew about having a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And I sure did it. And so that day, instead of just going to the living room and talking about whatever old time, I don't know, we were like the old times, anyways. We weren't talking about old times that day. We were talking about Jesus. She got a little booklet, how to have a personal relationship with Jesus, the Calvary Baptist Church, It's like, okay, this is great, and we were looking at Bible verses and it asked you simple little questions. And that day, the Holy Spirit really worked through her. I'm like, I can do this Christian thing. This is nice. No, because I always, I never had a problem with it. I just literally celebrated Christmas. I don't know. We just, we didn't go further than that. And so it was really exciting. And I went home and I probably had a Bible from my dad somewhere, and I started reading the Bible. And I called my dad, who he himself always really practiced his faith. I'm like, Dad, I'm reading the Bible, and do you got any suggestions? And he said, the Gospel of John. It has the most words of Jesus in it. So I was like, good idea. I want to know Jesus, read the Gospel of St. John. And so I started devouring. Literally, that's what I did. I read the Gospel of John. And then I had to decide what church I wanted to go to. Almost became a Mormon. Really. Yeah, except for when I went to their service or whatever you call it, that changed my mind. I don't know how much any of you know about Mormonism, but it's not the idea of what I had of Jesus loving. Yeah. So anyways, that was knocked down. Eventually refound the Catholic Church and eventually entered contemplative life. So that's kind of my 45-minute talk and, 5 or 10. So that's kind of how I came to the church and eventually, studying the truths of the Catholic faith. I'm like, I want that. I mean, my decision to enter religious life was not long after. I mean, I'm like, we're here to prepare for the beatific vision, to grow in charity. I'm like, 2 hours a day before the Blessed Sacrament, that ought to help. And, reading the Summa Theologica, which I remember as, a 4-year-old would have thought that was like, for rocket scientists. Well, now I study it, so I love it, and I'm very happy to be a sister. Today, I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about the true purpose of Lent. Because just as when Jesus walked this earth, and they humanized, I don't know, the Pharisees, they kind of humanized what God had given through the prophets as kind of rules and regulations. People that in those days had really humanized that and kind of, the rules that were meant to lead us to God almost became stumbling blocks. And I think, reading the Gospels, we had kind of seen that. And I myself have kind of noticed with maybe some things we do nowadays, kind of in a year 2015 kind of way, parallel. Are parallel. Okay, I was looking for an anyways. Are similar, and I'm not gonna be bashing fish fries. I mean, they're okay. I actually, true story. I got out of mass the other day, and I saw this poster as I was walking out of mass saying, "Awesome fish fry." Go. Okay. And I'm reading what they're going to be eating at this fish fry, and 3 types of fish, and I don't know how many types of potatoes, and all the fixings. Then at the end it says, chocolate ice cream. Wow. Well, I hope nobody gave up fried food or chocolate for because they're not going to be able to go to this great fish fry. This is ridiculous. So nothing against fish fries. Support the good people who put them on. But no, you're not doing the ultimate sacrifice, for Lent. Leftover hamburger helper would probably be more of a sacrifice than some of these fish fries. It's kind of my little fire and brimstone. Don't tell them actually, I have some little Bible verses that I wanted to use a little bit for this talk, and so I'm just going to have you guys kind of hand these out. Because for me, the true purpose, that might be close already, I'll get a couple going back here. Because for me, the true purpose of Lent is what Pope Francis calls the purpose of our life. We're called to make our lives a pilgrimage of transformation and love. He calls it evangelical radicalness. I'm like, that's a cool word. I like radicalness, and so this whole idea of having our hearts transformed is really the true purpose of Lent. And, we are called as Catholic Christians of today to offer the world the same love that Christ showed us when he walked on this earth. This selfless love of Christ. In this world of today I don't get out much as a contemplative sister, and, after 10 years of being a sister and coming out and seeing iPhones, iPad, me this, my that, all about me, okay. But Christ came here to say, it's all about others. And no greater love has any man than to lay down his life for his friends. And so I found some really great little, I think there's New and Old Testament in there, different Bible verses, kind of talking about, this transformation of heart that needs to happen during Lent. And, like Pope Francis says, to make of our life a pilgrimage of transformation and love. I wanted to kind of share with you some different things that I think would really help this transformation during Lent. First of all, Jesus gave us the church for a reason. And the church gives us the sacraments for a reason. For this transformation in love, the most powerful tool we have is the Eucharist. I want to just read you a little text from St. John Paul II, kind of talking about this. The Christian life is expressed in fulfilling the greatest commandment. That is to say, the love of God and neighbor. And this love finds its source in the Blessed Sacrament, which is commonly called the Sacrament of Love, because it signifies charity and makes it present. We ourselves begin to love. We enter upon the path of love and we progress. Love springs up and becomes deeper and stronger through this sacrament. So what I really wanted to impress on you tonight is Lent is to be transformed in love. And so if you're looking for resolutions for Lent, okay, fish on Friday, whatever, I'm not against that, but really having a sacrifice around spending more time with the Eucharist. Either you have a great adoration chapel at Holy Redeemer, maybe you haven't engaged yet for really a concrete time there each week. That could be an awesome Lenten resolution. Jesus, a half an hour Tuesday night, it's yours, or kind of seeing what your schedule allows. A time of adoration would be great. Otherwise, something centered around the Mass. Either maybe coming a little bit earlier to Mass so you can really prepare your heart and say, Jesus, you are love itself. I am so excited that I'm going to be able to receive you today. Prepare my heart. So coming early to do that. Or maybe you're somebody that runs out of the church as soon as it's finished. Maybe say, no. During Lent, 5 minutes, I'm there. I'm saying, thank you, Jesus. You're with me now. This is so special. Kind of something like this. Otherwise, a great thing to do during Lent would be to educate yourself more on the true presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. I don't know how many of you are familiar with St. John Paul II's encyclical on the Eucharist, Ecclesia de Eucharistia. I'm not great at Latin. But actually, you can go to the website of the Vatican, and you can actually print off pretty much any encyclical you want of a holy. I'm so this Vatican website is amazing. So JP2 encyclicals Eucharist. You would be able to get this text. That would be a great read for Lent. Some kind of spiritual reading. Say, a half an hour a week, or kind of see where you are in your journey. See, each person's kind of at a different place. So, maybe already 10 minutes of spiritual reading a week is going to be okay, I'm doing a lot there. So kind of engage in on, just basically stepping it up a notch from where you are now. So that was my first kind of idea for a resolution, something centered around the Eucharist. Secondly, Lent is a time to have a good confession. And all confessions should be good. But this isn't the time to go, okay, Father, I was speeding last night and didn't help my roommate put away the groceries, and not a laundry list type, that stuff, whatever. It's actually not a big deal in Jesus' eyes. I mean, I'm not endorsing speeding. But whatever, not necessarily big in the eyes of Christ. What you want to do is really prepare, have one of those things like, I'm going to confession this Saturday and I'm spending a half an hour of prayer beforehand, really meditating. How have I lacked mercy? How have I failed to witness to my faith to others when I totally could have? Like my Baptist friend. I really beg you to start out this Lent at some point with a good confession. Thirdly, I wanted to speak tonight about the Virgin Mary. Each person is kind of in a different place in their faith. I mean, I might have some kind of recent converts in here who are like, okay, I just literally got over the Mary thing, so slow down, sister. I'm cool now, but, don't ask too much. Or some of you may have been praying a rosary for years already. So kind of wherever you're at with the Virgin Mary, Jesus from the heights of the cross said, behold your mother. So she is someone you really want to get close to this Lent. I myself, I'm kind of one who likes kind of short, quick prayers. With Jesus and Mary, you need to really have a true personal relationship. I mean, I do things like, thanks, Mom. For example, true story. Yesterday was Our Lady of Lourdes, and I've been waiting to get my visa forever because I'm going to a theological house in Italy. And last night I got my visa in the mail, and I was like, "Thank you, Mama," because it's Our Lady of Lourdes, So I was like, "This is so Virgin Mary." Anyway, so what I'm saying by that, with your relationship with her, Jesus said, "Behold your mother." So really, enter into. She's our mother. I was thanking her last night. I'm like, this is so her. It was a miracle that it came like last night. And so really, the rosary can help, but really just simple prayers during the day, like, Mary, can you help me with this? Or, give me your peace. Just short little, I know you're my mother. I know Jesus gave you the words of Jesus on the cross, he wasn't messing around. Like, those were like, oh yeah, and by the way, I don't know if you've heard how excruciating it was to speak. I've heard studies like for him to say each word was like horrible, so like what he said on the cross, he was very serious, and so for him to say, behold your mother, to the beloved disciple, who is who we all want to be, really, I think Lent is a good time to take those words seriously. And last of all, I wanted to talk to you tonight about getting a good crucifix. Actually, I did a little radio interview this morning, and the guy asked me, okay, sister, we're going to be coming up on Lent, got any ideas? And I said, yes. I think y'all should go crucifix shopping. I was thinking, almsgiving. I think I shocked him a little bit. But seriously, a crucifix you can pray with, because being a born-again Catholic, one of the things I did a lot when I discovered the church, we had a great crucifix in the parish that I went to, and literally I'd spend an hour just kind of going, wow, that's God loves me. I just even not even really pray. Just literally like gazing upon the cross. And so really get a crucifix that you can really, have as an object of prayer. I think that's really something extremely important, especially because, like us for sisters, on Fridays we have a special time during Lent where about 3 o'clock we either do a meditated Way of the Cross, or we read the Passion narrative in the Gospels. Each one of the 4 Gospels, at the end, it's the Passion of Jesus. And so, that could be another thing that this Lent, that could be a great resolution. okay, Friday I can't do bread and water, but, or whatever, it's good, it's good to do some kind of material sacrifice also, it helps. I mean, that's not the day you want to go to the Chinese buffet, really doesn't help you enter into prayer. So I'm not against, making some kind of material sacrifice also at the level of food or something like that. But an even greater thing to make sure you do on Fridays would be some kind of meditation on the Passion. And when I say meditation, I'm not meaning some big crazy spirituality. I'm talking about literally slowly reading the Passion in the Bible. Luke 22, read it. It's the Passion of Christ. So that would be a great thing to do this Lent. To really, help you to have this transformation of heart that Jesus is really looking for. Because you and I here tonight, as little as weak as we may be, we're tomorrow's saints. You and I here are the future of the church. Jesus wants us to love him, not like a little bit, kind of on Sunday and Thursday nights, He wants us to love him a lot. He came to make us disciples, not just, okay, I kind of have this Catholic flavor to my life, and I'm a little spiritual, no, that's not the gospel. He said, anyone who wants to follow me must take up his cross, deny himself, and follow me. This isn't like, I like clean, healthy activity. I'm glad you're too clean and healthy. I like it, because really it's not, we're not Christian to have kind of a more morally acceptable life than others. We're called to be disciples of Christ. And, Jesus says in the Gospel of, I believe it's Luke, chapter 11, I came to set this world on fire, and how I longed that it was already blazing. That's what he said. I came to set it on fire, not like, I want you all to have clean activities, and kind of keep orderly, and don't get too crazy like the rest of the people on State Street. And speaking of which, I saw something now. I don't get out much, so the State Street walk can be a little bit interesting sometimes. Anyways. That's not why he came. He came to make us disciples, to transform our hearts with his grace. Like grace, I did a study on it. That little word grace, do you know what it means? God's own life. Through grace, we become like Christ. It's really intense. You want to be in sanctifying grace, just to let you know on that. Really, it's a participation in the divine nature. Jesus was fully God and fully man. Jesus had a divine nature and a human nature. We have a human nature, and through grace, we're called to participate in the divine nature. This is like a big deal, you guys. I'm like, this is exciting, but we don't know this stuff. And so we really got to be like, Jesus came to give us life to the fullest. And we really need to embrace that because, we're as good as it gets. We are called to be, tomorrow's saints. You and I here, it's not, the people I pass tonight on the street. We are called to be the salt of the earth. We're called to have our light shine so much that they're like, hey, I want to go where they're going. They look alive. And so I really I beg you to really take this Lent seriously. Because I promise if you take this Lent seriously, Easter will be like a whole new thing. I remember my first Easter after really living a good Lent of fasting and adoration. I really enter into the joy of the resurrection. And so that's what I wish for each and every one of you here tonight, because let us enter into Jesus' desire to set this world on fire. Let us be transformed by his own love so that we too can set the world ablaze. anybody have any questions or I don't know, I didn't speak a ton about, fearism or I don't know, but any questions? Yeah.
I had a question. When you were talking about confession, I've heard of this thing called general confession, which is something that people do every so often. They call it full. It's like confessing your entire life of everything. And I just wanted your thoughts on it. Would this be a good thing to consider during Lent or even as a general practice and like a once a year type thing?
That's interesting because myself, I made my first confession at 23 because that's when I had my conversion. And so, mine was, not a household of faith. Already as good Catholics, I'm sure, after 23 years it would have been pretty special. But, growing up with a single mom, I did a very general confession. So I've done that. And what I would say is if you've never had a really I'm laying literally it all out there. If you hadn't, all your sins are forgiven. If you've gone to confession, all the sins before that, as long as you, had all the, you were contrite and you tried your best to confess all the ones you could remember, they are forgiven. So it's not going to be at the level of forgiveness. But for me, my first confession, which was a general confession, that was the most healing experience. I literally passed out in my bed after. It was like a quasi-exorcism. Not to be dramatic, but that's why I'm telling you guys, you gotta have, if you've never had that, do that. Be okay, when I was 9 and what I looked at on the internet, you're forgiven, but it's one of those just kind of pray about it, see, because just knowing that it's not necessarily on the level of forgiveness, but all this stuff, it's for us anyways, Jesus knows our sins, so if for you can be that's always kind of been something on my heart. I know you forgive me, but I never actually confessed it. You could go ahead and do that because it really, the one thing that's beautiful about grace is that it's for sanctifying us, but it's also to heal us. And so, my first confession, which I would say was definitely a general confession, was an extremely healing experience. I was knocked out. Literally, I was I went through heart surgery. It was, so if, kind of pray about that. Each one, it might be different. Maybe you were lucky and had a great Catholic home and, speeding is maybe the worst sin. I don't know, It sure wasn't mine. So, I'd pray about it, and if that could be, if maybe there's different things and I know I'm forgiven, but it'd really be good to lay it out there. Go for it. Yeah?
If you don't mind my asking, what was your parents' reaction when you joined the sisters? But if you don't want to answer, that's fine.
No. You can see I'm pretty free. Actually, it's funny because, like I said, I fell in love with Jesus hard. And so the reaction was not at all one of surprise because they saw my last year and a half before that. And so they saw me completely healed. Even physically, I just learned this recently studying the grace of Christ in the Summa, that literally, I'm not kidding you, grace will even heal physically sometimes. It's all connected. Our soul is our principle of life. And, grace, I used to go to the chiropractor, I've been a chiropractor 15 years, since I was 20, anyways, no big deal. So, where was I going with that? Okay, so anyways, pretty much everybody's when you go in the convent, I think I spent more time in prayer than I do now, because I quit my job. I was like a St. Francis, only feminine. I really put my house up for sale, you know, gave my dad my car, I mean, really, you know, so, but it's funny you ask that because my mom still to this day, we are like, we're night and day. She's actually kind of new age, and last time she got married it was in Vegas, so I mean, we're just, you know, our lifestyles are quite different, and so, but you know what the one thing is? When you allow your faith to transform you so much that you glow with happiness, there's not much people can say. You know, even your mom who's a little new age and doesn't believe in God, you're extremely happy, you know. And that's what parents want. It was super hard for my dad actually, who was a very devout Catholic, just because we're like, please who cares? I mean, me and my dad are like this. So it was hard at the level of like the physical separation wise, but they both saw me like deliriously happy, you know, still 10 years later, like, you know, excited, you know, in my love for Jesus. Sorry. Anyways, so, you know, that's what I'm saying. If we're that transformed, you know, people have nothing on it, you know, and that's what I'm saying, really entering into this life of grace. Jesus came to give us the fullness of life, and he also came to give us the fullness of joy. And so when we actually live with this grace, it's a good time, you know, and so that's how we evangelize. You know, I'm actually going to be giving a little talk about a guy I met in a coffee shop, totally atheist. I mean, he was telling me he was into magic and all this stuff. And, we were kind of going back and forth, and he's getting all this apologetical stuff because he like learned all this like, atheist, like, you know how they like kind of memorize all this stuff. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not intelligent enough to like hang with your atheistic arguments. And so I'm like, I'm a pretty happy camper, you know, and I'm like, I don't know what else to tell you. And he goes and he looks at me and he's like, you're right, you glow. And we just looked at each other. I was like, you know, and you know, but really, it was actually extremely profound moment, and that's why I'm going to be talking about evangelizing through personal transformation. This guy, I had nothing on his little atheistic arguments. I'm like, you know, I tried, you know, because he was like, why is there evil in the world and God is good, or, you know, scratch my head trying to remember my, you know, because I dabbled in apologetics before I went into the sisters, you know, as every good convert does, or revert, or whatever. And I was trying to remember, oh yeah, free will, okay, because we got free will. So I'm like, well, you know, when you love someone, you leave them free, and so he was like, oh yeah, the choice thing, and then he had his whole argument. We kind of had that, you know. Anyways, but then, you know, we're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He ends up and he says, you're right, you glow. For me, that was really an intense experience because he's like, he saw that I had something he didn't. You know, I didn't have great atheistic argument comebacks and all that kind of stuff. But I glow, I guess. I was like, oh yeah, so I'm happy. Yeah, okay, I hope that answered your question. And then some.
Can you talk a little bit about the charism of your order?
Yeah, and so we're kind of interesting. We're new in the church because we're contemplative, non-cloistered. Okay, because normally you don't see this, like, because we're contemplative, but we're not cloistered, so I'm here, and that's great. No, but actually, I mean, we live a hidden life of prayer. It's just because, I don't know if y'all know this, but it's the year of consecrated life. And so I got sent on this mission because they're like, well, you're chatty enough. It's funny because I'm like, not really. Anyways, so I'm like, anyways, so where am I going with that? Okay, so non-cloistered, and it's the year of consecrated life. So go promote vocations. You know, Pope Francis is called this year of consecrated life because he kind of wants to wake up the church, like kind of reinvigorate it with young vocations. And so I get to promote vocations and you know, meet a bunch of young women and tell them like, hey, okay, so we're here to prepare for the beatific vision. I found that out, and our life is here to grow in charity. Like, you want to hear our schedule? You want to grow and share? I'm very kind of like, I just lay it out there like, hey, don't waste time. So we're here for the beatific vision. You can get married if you want, but if you want to, it doesn't It's a sacrament, means of sanctification. I'm all for it, It's a beautiful way to be sanctified. So is religion. A little bit about it. And any of you know the encyclical Faith and Reason? Okay, so basically, if you want to know our charism, that's like my second Bible. So, like, Faith and Reason, we're pretty much like, I think our charism, we'd say we're beloved disciples of St. John Paul II. I mean, we like pretty much if you like him, you'd like us, because we, we love sports. We're contemplative sisters, but we can play some basketball. A lot of time on your knees, you've got to kind of get that all that energy out.
How did you pick your particular order?
Actually, it kind of picked me because, no, I'm just kidding. Actually, what happened was I was just starting with a lay apostolate called Servants of Our Lady of Guadalupe. I don't know if anybody knows Will Goodman. Anyways, pro-life lay apostolate. And actually was going to discern entering this lay apostolate at my community of sisters. I'm like, I just want to go somewhere where we can pray. I don't want them trying to push all this spirituality exercises, pay $1,000 and I'm like, I want to go somewhere where I can be for Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament and have my Bible and quiet. And so I went to the sisters. Somebody recommended me to go there, and just all of the sisters. Especially the charism. The search for truth for me is very important. And I had read the encyclical Faith and Reason before I knew my sisters, and so I was like, this is a no-brainer. And so after 3 days of my retreat, I said, I think I'm called to enter here. She was like, oh. She said, well, usually, you come back for a few more times first, and, oh, well, okay, whatever your formality thing is. And then I came back and they said, okay, I'm like, well, I'd really like to. They're like, very well, we'll let you enter September 8th with the rest of the girls. And I said, oh, well, I just want 3 weeks. I said, 5 weeks would be too hard for my family, and, I need 3 weeks to pack my stuff, say my goodbyes, and I'm coming. So I actually entered on August 22nd instead of September 8th, because I knew if I drag it out with my family, it wouldn't go well. So yeah, that's how I picked up Faith and Reason. It's great. We have great formation, great prayer life, and also we're a young community. My claim to fame is that I'm the 4th oldest American sister. So that kind of, we're 250 sisters worldwide, 14 convents, and here in the States, I'm pretty much one of the oldest sisters, so you know how old I am now. So that's how I picked my community.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.